Have you ever wondered why it seems so incredibly hard to forget an ex? Why, despite your best efforts to move on, their memory lingers, sneaking into your thoughts at the most inconvenient times? Well, it turns out that this frustrating phenomenon can be explained by a psychological concept known as the polar bear effect. Imagine for a moment, if you will, being asked not to think about a white polar bear. The more you try to banish the image of this icy creature from your mind, the more it seems to persist, right? This is the crux of the polar bear effect. It's a term coined by social psychologist Daniel Wagner, who conducted a series of experiments in the late 80s to explore the paradox of mental control. Wagner's theory, known as ironic process theory, posits that the more we try to suppress a thought, the more it resurfaces. It's a bit like trying to hold a beach ball underwater. The harder you push it down, the more forcefully it pops back up. In his experiments, Wagner asked participants not to think about a white bear. However, they were allowed to think about the bear if a bell rang. Interestingly, the bell rang more often for those who were trying not to think about the bear, compared to those who were allowed to think freely about it. The conclusion: suppressed thoughts have a way of coming back with a vengeance. So what does this all have to do with forgetting an ex? Well, the polar bear effect applies to any thoughts we try to suppress, not just images of frosty mammals. When friends advise you to simply stop thinking about your ex, they unknowingly trigger this psychological phenomenon. The more you try to forget your ex, the more your mind revisits the memories, the moments, the feelings. However, this isn't to say you're doomed to forever dwell on past relationships. Understanding the polar bear effect is the first step to dealing with it. Instead of trying to suppress thoughts of your ex, acknowledge them. Accept that they are part of your past, but not your present or your future. Practice mindfulness, focusing on the here and now, rather than getting lost in the labyrinth of the past. Engage in activities that you enjoy and that keep your mind occupied. Surround yourself with positive influences and allow yourself to heal at your own pace. To sum up, the polar bear effect explains why it's so hard to forget an ex. The more you try to push those thoughts away, the stronger they return. But by understanding this psychological phenomenon, you can learn to navigate these tricky emotional waters. Remember, it's not about forgetting, but about accepting, moving on, and focusing on the present. So the next time you find yourself wrestling with thoughts of an ex, don't fight it. Let the polar bear roam. You're not its prisoner, but its observer. And in time, you'll find that the bear visits less often until one day it fades away into the snowy expanse of your past.